And as we're gathering and finding our chairs and maybe putting out some more chairs, and then probably we'll need to put out some more chairs, we'll see. We gather this morning. This is so awesome, so wonderful to see all of you here this morning. So good morning.
Good morning.
That was awesome. I don't even have to do it over again. That was so good. And so good morning and welcome to the Unitarian Church of Edmonton. My name is the Reverend Rosemary Morrison, and it is my pleasure and honor to serve this congregation. Believe it or not, I'm moving into my 5th year here. It feels like woo! Thank you. That's lovely. We're one of 2 Unitarian Universalist congregations here in Edmonton, so we are well served. If you are new or newish, please check us out, check out Westwood, go to 2 or 3 services, find out which is the best fit for you and to make sure that we are a good fit for you. In other words, if you don't like us the first time, try again. You might like us the second or the third time. I often say that the Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal, not creedal community. We strive to live into our 8 principles, supporting one another in our search for community and care. And we are always searching for community, aren't we? I often say, nobody needs church. Ministers should never really say that, should they? Nobody needs church, but everybody needs community, and church is a wonderful place to get community. We don't try to think alike. However, we do try to be collectively kind and generous to one another. Unitarian Universalists have long been at the forefront of social justice and action, striving to make life equitable and fair for everyone. As a start to our reconciliation work, I'd like to acknowledge that we are gathering on Treaty 6 land this morning. We come from many places to be together today. This reflects the richness of this territory as a historic gathering place of the countless nations that found richness and fullness in this place. It's an ideal spot to come together. It helps us and them, and through millennia, support life, love, liberty, culture. Well, right now I'd like to invite all of you to make sure that the things that go beep and ding and things are turned off, so that we are not disrupted or startled during the service. And we do have some announcements, and Declan will have an announcement for us, and Maria. And I have a little announcement that coming up pretty quick is UU's on tap. It's always the last Wednesday of the month, and it's usually I usually arrive around 6 p.m., and it's at 3 Vikings, just on 107th, near 107th Avenue and 124th Street. So very close by. So that's my announcement. And Maria, you're closest.
Good morning. My name is Maria Odekirk. My pronouns are she and her, and along with my husband Clinton, I am part of the hospitality team here at the church, and it's potluck day. So our mighty setup crew helped with tables and chairs in Keeler Hall this morning. We are also going to need just a few hands in the kitchen just to get the food out and ready to go after the service, and thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Declan Kiley. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm usually up here to invite you to a movie night. But my announcement this morning is, unfortunately, that will be canceled this month. There will be no movie for October. Hopefully we will be back in November, but we need your help. We are a small team who run the movie night. It's just me and Pauline Atwood at the moment, but we would like to expand a little bit. We are looking for people who have some tech savvy or are interested in learning to help us, in case one of us is not there, so that it's not just someone alone trying to run this. So if you like watching movies, if you like free movies, if you know a little bit about computers or you want to learn more, please talk to me or Pauline Atwood after the service or at any time. We are super interested in volunteers. And that's about all for my announcement, but I was told that it might be made better with an interpretive dance, so this is what I got. I can't, the camera.
How do you follow that? Good morning. I'm Donna Hammer, and I just want to clarify the committee that we're going to be forming for memorial wall, plaque, stand, whatever, to remember our deceased members and contributors to the church and friends. It is not today, but next Sunday after church. So those of you that were interested, just keep that in mind. Thank you.
We've come here to get a break from the hubbub, the rush, the ongoing struggles that we have in our lives, to take a moment and rest, to just be, to feed our spirits, to feed our souls, to feed our mind, to get hugs, give hugs, to be nourished in mind, body, and spirit this morning. I invite you to take a long breath with me and sink in. I hope this morning's service meets some of your needs, one of your needs. I'm so grateful for your presence here. It means so much to each and every one. It wouldn't be the same experience for us if you weren't here. And I'm speaking to each and every one of you. So in preparation for this service, I'd like to invite Karen Mills, one of our music directors, to provide us with some music to get settled in. Thank you. I was sitting there going, why isn't she getting up? Because it's my turn, that's why. That was clever, wasn't it? So what I would like to do right now is introduce Reverend Ann Barker to our service this morning. Ann is going to be providing us with the message and some other words of wisdom. And Ann is the Transitional Transitional Executive Director of the Canadian Unitarian Council, and she was the minister at our Westwood congregation, so she's not a stranger to many of us. And so please make sure you give her a warm welcome today. She will be meeting with some of us after the service as well, after the potluck. So we're looking forward to that as well. And later on in the service, I will introduce you to many of the other members of the CUC staff and board that are with us this morning. Reverend Ann?
Thank you. It is so good to see you again. Cornel West says, "Mission is what love looks like in public." And Sunday worship is one of the most powerful ways that we remind ourselves and that we show others, that we show ourselves, that we are centered in mission, that we are centered in love. And may it always be so. We light our chalice in the spirit of love. Now, my task next is to introduce the song that's going to pop up here. We're going to sing hymn number 361, Enter, Rejoice, and Come In. But I'm going to divert for a second. This whole service is about a spirit of curiosity and creativity and trying new experiments and doing new things. And I just learned that there's no sound in the family room. So I would like, during this song, if one or two people could go to the family room, fetch some toys and a blanket, and make a baby nest in the center. And we're all going to practice tolerating baby sounds. Awesome. So let's sing with gusto. 361. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Thank you. Thank you to those that did that. Our community is entirely self-governing and self-supporting. One of the privileges of our free church tradition is to provide for the financial support for our many ministries among our members and ourselves. Generosity, therefore, is one of the attributes and one of the principles that we strive to live into. In addition to supporting this church community, we also make a monthly commitment beyond our walls. And ushers, go ahead and begin collecting or taking up the offering. 1/2 of the unidentified cash that is received is given to an outside organization. Some are local, some national, and some international. For the month of October, we are sharing our abundance with Camp fYrefly. As the offering is being collected, I'm going to tell you a little bit about them. I thought I was. It didn't come up. So, Camp fYrefly, I need some help because I took a whole big thing off their website and put it on my script and it's not there. So, the magic fairies have been at work. Camp fYrefly, Gordon, what is Camp fYrefly? Tell me. Come and tell me about Camp fYrefly because I know you know all about it.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody. I'm Gordon Ritchie, he, him. I've been very familiar with Camp fYrefly for a while, and I know it's one of the charities that we have supported for many years within UCE, and I'm very, very grateful for that. Two people who I've known through Camp fYrefly will be Dr. Andre Grace and Chris Wells. Some of you may know the name Chris Wells through his work throughout the government. But one of the objects that they've created, I'm so excited about this. One of their passions is diversity and understanding who we are as a people, but more so looking at young people and the challenge that they are faced, and the problems and issues that they have with truly being who they are in a community that may not necessarily be accepting of them. And so they have camps over the summer, and they are called campers. I love that they are called campers. I believe the age is 12 to 17, if I'm not mistaken, youth that meet over the summer. And they're not only gathered together to have a great time and to be in community, but there are seminars and workshops that they do, that they're involved with to help build resilience, to help build self-esteem and confidence, and to be leaders in their community. So if they see things like bullying, if they see things like justice, not only will they take a stand for themselves to be strong, but also address these as well and realize that we have the potential of being a loving, accepting community. And I think it's just a wonderful gift for us to be able to support a community like that. So as Reverend Rosemary was saying, half of the contributions of cash during this month will be supported to what I believe is such a wonderful, beautiful, and loving organization. So I thank you for your support.
I couldn't have done that. So that's way better. Please join in singing our gratitude song, From You I Receive. The words are here as we collect bring up the offering. Thank you. So it's time for the service leader reflection, and what I want to say is how excited I am to have Anne here and for us to be exploring the idea of throwing the spaghetti against the wall and see what sticks. And I think that we've been doing that quite a bit here as well. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about one of the latest initiatives we have. Some spaghetti we're throwing against the wall. We have just recently thrown. And hopefully we can build on that and get some more spaghetti up there to join it. I'd like to invite Ambrose to come up. Ambrose Rodriguez is newly hired by us, the Unitarian Church of Edmonton, and will be here on Sunday mornings, here ready to start a program. She's in the beginning stages of that, and she's just going to introduce herself a little bit.
Hi there, my name is Ambrose Rodriguez. My pronouns are she, her. I am setting up a childcare program here at the Unitarian Church. I have 4 years. Thank you. So kind. I am in my 4th year of childcare. I've been working with kids of all ages. for a while, and I'm very excited to be setting up our program here. If you have any questions, you can come find me after the service, and I'm an open book, so go for it.
We have, it's okay.
Okay.
All right, and the other thing that I would like to do during my time is to ask the CUC staff and board that are here, if you're comfortable, to stand up and come and say your name, and if you want to do it at the thing, or I'm happy to do it. I'm seeing that I'm happy to do it. I'm like this, you're like, oh no, we just need to sit. All right. Yeah, how about if I get you to all stand up if you're CUC staff and board, and then look around, and I will tell you who they are. Deborah Falk. Reverend Deborah Falk is the retired minister from Calgary, and she is one of our co-presidents of the Canadian Unitarian Council. This is Margaret. Margaret is from our Toronto congregation, and she is finishing her last year as co-president with Reverend Deborah Falk, and I know that they're not particularly happy to see her go. Thank you. And this is Dan, if you want to wave, Dan. Dan splits her time between Peterborough, where she is taking a couple of light reading courses, Roman and Greek, and also some English literature, just a little bit of reading, yeah. And Dan is the senior youth observer to the board. Thank you, Dan. Kenzie, do you want to wave your arms, or just one? Kenzie Love lives in Calgary and is part of the Calgary Unitarians, and is part of the communications team of the CUC, and he does the writing. Am I correct, Kenzie? Did I get that right? Thank you. Thank you. Nicolene Guerrier, Reverend Nicolene Guerrier, recently dividing her time between Montreal and Plattsburgh, New York, where she was half-time with the congregation there, and is now the Eastern representative of congregational life for the Canadian Unitarian Council. So we thank you. Thanks. Thank you, Reverend Nicolene. And Tatiana is there, and I'm afraid I don't know Tatiana's last name. Tatiana, I don't know your last name. Saliba. Awesome. Tatiana is a new member of our staff, the Canadian Unitarian staff, and is in charge of communications, and I'm really excited to see what's going to happen under her expertise. Thanks. Send her cool. She said, "Send me cool stories." So, and this is Amber, and I'm not sure I can pronounce your last name properly. Belmar. This is Amber Belmar, and her portfolio is reconciliation, as well as she does all the videos and AV stuff and creative, awesome creative things that Amber does for the council. Thank you, Amber. And probably not a stranger to most of us here is Sylvia Crow, a member of this congregation, and is a new member of the Canadian Unitarian Council Board. And I want to thank you for your service. Who did I miss? Oh, there you are! I'm so sorry, Alara. It's like there's something, I'm missing something. You also are familiar with our Alara Stefaniak Cadet. Thank you. They, them pronouns. And second year on the board? Third year on the board. So, wow, this congregation has 2 board members on this Canadian Unitarian Council. Be proud of yourselves. So I am really proud of this congregation and all the work that you have done, and I look forward to what's next. And we have a responsive reading, which I'm going to get the hymn book. The words will come up. Nope. If not, that's okay, because you have your words are, we give thanks this day. There we go. Your words are, we give thanks this day. You know, I might change it because we're just trying new things today. All right. Why don't you guys do all the words and I'll say, we give thanks this day. Okay. Anybody up for that? Yeah? All right. Okay, I'll get you started. For the expanding grandeur of creation, worlds known and unknown, galaxies beyond galaxies, filling us with awe and challenging our imaginations, we give thanks this day. For this fragile planet Earth, its times and tides, its sunsets and seasons, we give thanks this day. For the joy of human life, its wonders and surprises, its hopes and achievements, we give thanks this day. For our human community, our common past and future hope, our oneness transcending all separation, our capacity to work for peace and justice in the midst of hostility and oppression, we give thanks this day. For high hopes and noble causes, for faith without fanaticism, for understanding of views not shared, we give thanks this day. For all who have labored and suffered for a fairer world, who have lived so that others might live in dignity and freedom, we give thanks this day. For human liberty and sacred rights, for opportunities to change and grow, to affirm and choose. And all together, we give thanks this day. We pray that we might live not by our fears, but by our hopes, not by our words, but by our deeds. And that is by O. Eugene Pickett, kind of a familiar name in UU history, if you're into that kind of thing, which weirdly I am. It's not so weird. Oh, good. There's a lot of ministers in the room. We can all agree. That's kind of normal for us. I ask that the lights come down a little bit as we enter into a time of meditation. That we settle ourselves, our bodies into the chairs that we're sitting in. Trying to get those muscles to relax just a little bit. Allowing the chair to hold our weight, to allow ourselves to sink into it and to feel the pull of gravity on our muscles. I invite you to place your feet on the floor if you like, to feel that grounding as it moves up through our bodies. I invite you to draw your attention to your breathing. See if you can follow the breath of air as it goes through your nose and down and into your lungs, where it feeds you, nourishes you, and then you let go of what you do not need. What is it in your life that you can pay attention to? take what is yours, to give for your life, for your vitality, and then to let it go when it no longer serves. The way that I'm going to do this meditation is familiar to folks that go here. Familiar format. I'll read a poem. It's called Start Close In by David White. We'll have a bit of silence, and I will read the poem again and see if you can find a different piece of the poem that speaks to you. Maybe the first time you notice one image or one thought, and then I'll read it again, and what is it that comes up for you the second time? And we'll have a little bit of silence, a minute or so, and then Gordon will bring us out with the harp. So let us enter into this time of reflection and renewal where we look inward. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the thing close in, the step you don't want to take. Start with the ground you know, the pale ground beneath your feet. Your own way of starting the conversation. Start with your own question. Give up on other people's questions. Don't let them smother something simple. To find another's voice, follow your own voice. Wait until that voice becomes a private ear listening to another. Start right now. Take a small step you can call your own. Don't follow someone else's heroics. Be humble and focused. Start close in. Don't mistake that other for your own. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing, close in. The step you don't want to take. In a moment of silence. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing, close in. The step you don't want to take. Start with the ground you know, the pale ground beneath your feet, your own way of starting the conversation. Start with your own question. Give up on other people's questions. Don't let them smother something so simple. To find another's voice, follow your own voice. Wait until that voice becomes a private ear listening to another. Start right now. Take a small step you can call your own. Don't follow someone else's heroics. Be humble and focused. Start close in. Don't mistake that other voice for your own. Start close in. Don't take the second step or the third. Start with the first thing, close in, the step you don't want to take. Let us continue this meditative time with the song Meditation on Breathing. Please remain seated. When I breathe in peace. When I breathe out love.
Good morning, my name's Karen Mills, she, her. If this is new to you, we'll guide you through it. We're going to sing through it several times. This song has 3 different components, 3 different pieces, and I invite you to choose whichever one fits best for you this morning, or if you're not sure, try all 3 out. That's fine too. The first part that we'll learn is kind of a chant. It's the lowest part, so if you have a lower voice, that might fit for you. It's also the least complex melody, and so if you are just feeling the need to settle into something and ground yourself this morning, that might be a good part for you. The next part that we'll do is kind of the middle level in terms of pitch and complexity, and it is the melody as well, and so we'll try that. And then the third is a higher kind of descant that just floats over all 3 parts. But what I'd like us to start with is getting grounded and getting centered in it, as it is meditative. And so if you can just either have your hand here or on your thigh, we're just going to create a collective grounded beat. And we don't want to rush through this, so we'll kind of do it as 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and this is the lower part. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe. Here comes the middle. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, keep those going. Here comes the high part. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. It was wonderful. We join every congregation in Canada and the U.S. on Sunday mornings and other times as well to light candles of joy and concern, a visual and outward expression of the lives that we live, full of complexities and joys and happy times and sad times and confusing times, was thinking about a situation in my own life last night, and my partner said, what's going on for you? And I was just like, my puzzler is puzzling. And that's how I felt. There's just so many things going through my head. So I invite you to light a candle of joy or concern or celebration or love or whatever. If you are new here, I suggest you don't go first. We have 2 candle stations. There's a basket with candles, tapers in. Grab a taper, come to the table, light your taper, light a tea light, and then put your taper in the water to extinguish it. We try to keep the smoke off the ends of the candles away for allergies' sakes, and it does make a difference. So use the water to extinguish. Thank you. candles of joy and concern. Feel free to sit there. That's just awesome. Yeah, that may or may not light. Reverend Ann will light one last candle for us to signify, to symbolize, to hold all of the joys and concerns that are still with us, that maybe are taking a little time to come to the surface, that maybe we're not quite ready to acknowledge. Thank you, Anne. And I'd like to invite you up to Reverend Ann Barker. Welcome.
Thank you. I have a bunch of words. If you did not get up and light a candle and you need to stretch or move, feel welcome. Today we're going to imagine where spaghetti meets spirit, which is my first ever sermon that calls on the power of both sacred inspiration and pasta. So here goes. Welcome into the experiment. I have faith that it will work out at least well enough that you don't go home starving. Our theme is a mashup of two of my personal inspirations. The first, a friend who helped me move down from the tippy top of the perfectionism pedestal. And the second, the potent energy that is generated when we come together with purpose and intention. Many of you know or know of Liz James. See, the natural impulse is to laugh. You'll understand why in a moment. Liz is the creator of the Unitarian Universalist Hysterical Society, arguably one of the most influential UU presences in the world right now. Not bad for an accidental Facebook page, right? The Hysterical Society began as a very small practical joke among a group of friends and colleagues. Liz started it because she loves to laugh and she needed a distraction. She kept it going long after that first joke ended because she still needed that humor in her life. And it turned out that a lot of other people did too. Her little Facebook group has grown into a massive UU-grounded humor project with nearly 300,000 members. It is moderated by two very gifted religious educators who every day are teaching people how to live graciously into our principles and our practices, all while helping to spread joy and laughter around the world. And their new ED they just hired is also a religious educator. Liz is one of those people who is also imagining and trying out adventures. She invented her own religion when she couldn't find one that fit as a young adult. She's been traveling North America, living in her van on a UU preaching and peopling journey. I suspect she may have preached and peopled around here or with many of you. And she even talked me into doing a podcast with her for a couple of years, The Cracked Cup, until we realized that neither of us had the bandwidth for all of that editing. So we retired it and moved along. Liz is the person who taught me, who showed me that you can have a zillion ideas, but until you give them a try, you won't know if they're going to work. And you don't have to try them perfectly, because there's no rule that says you have to do them forever. You just have to start and see what follows. I'm also someone who constantly generates ideas, but they can be followed by overwhelm and then decision paralysis, which directly leads to zero actual projects. Inside my brain, it can sound something like this. Which one do I try? Will it work? What if I'm not good at it? What if nobody likes it? What? Are you exhausted already? I know I am. That's what happens. We get bright ideas, excitement, overwhelm, flop. Some of it stems, for me, from growing up in the if you're going to do it, you better do it right generation. I developed an edit it to perfection before letting the editor see it style. You get the picture. Our communications manager is laughing. Now you know. And the burden of needing to make something brilliant before it ever meets the light of day, well, that has extinguished many light bulbs before they ever got plugged in. And I wasn't about to just try stuff, especially not if anybody was looking. I know there's some of you out there, my partners in over-preparation. If I signed up for a Learn to Crochet class, I would get a book from the library and practice at home until not only did I understand how it worked, but until I was actually pretty competent. Before I went to the first class. I've got nodding out there. I see you. Who was with me, right? That experiential learning thing in front of other people? The horror. I don't recommend that method. Sure, I'm good with hooks and needles and yarn, but for most of my life I was not good with letting anything go public before I felt it was perfect. So a lot of potentially fun or helpful or even important things were never given a chance. Then I had kids. That's a great equalizer, right? And then I met Liz. Unlike me, she grew up thinking she could never get it right. So she doesn't wait until she's perfect because it's not even on her list of possibilities. What Liz does, because she is also full of ideas and also doesn't know which ones will work, is she grabs a handful and tosses them out there in their fledgling stages and watches. She will tell you it's just like spaghetti. You grab a handful, throw it against the wall, and see what sticks. And you have to keep doing it because what sticks doesn't necessarily stick forever, and something that may not have stuck last week, well, it might be the right thing for today. My people did not throw spaghetti. But Liz is truly a lot of fun, so spaghetti it was. She often had 3 or 4 or 10 projects on the go and was truly surprised when the practical joke that was never meant to turn into a thing turned out to be the very thing that others were drawn to. Now that project is a nonprofit, raises money for Flaming Chalice International, and employs a number of people. But most of all, it's a fantastic promotional ambassador for Unitarian Universalism. And it began because something different needed to happen. We are in a time of deep transition, not just as individuals or congregations, but as a species, as a society, and as a faith movement. We all know it. We don't have to convince anyone because it's everywhere. And it's obvious. We're living in times where no one single recipe works anymore. When the step-by-step instructions we once relied on for building congregations and communities and culture no longer yield the results that we once expected and could count on. Change is swirling around us as if someone tossed the whole pot of spaghetti into the air, and while sometimes it lands well, sometimes it falls on the floor. As people of faith, we are full of love and good intentions, and things have shifted. And when good people who work very hard stop seeing reliable results, we have a tendency to try working even harder at the traditional things. We have been trying to be better at what we know, to be more perfect to polish the cracks and hope nobody notices. It's a generous impulse centered in good intention, but continuing to do unfruitful things harder and harder is breaking our people. It's grinding them down with ever diminishing returns. Because Liz couldn't do things perfectly, and spoiler, none of us can, and because she didn't have a recipe, just a lot of hopes and dreams and needs, like we all do. She just kept trying what her heart told her it needed: laughter, connection, something uplifting and meaningful, and the UU hysterical society stuck. The spaghetti was cooked, and everybody wanted it. People in the broader community, as well as us, are hungry for connection and community and spiritual well-being. But they're also wary of religious institutions. So it's time to test a new recipe or three. And you can guess what that means. Experiments! It means trying things, small things, messy things. It means willing to at least try tossing a little spaghetti against the wall to see what happens. We are not tearing down the kitchen or tossing out all the food in favor of a new menu. But it's time to test if a squeeze of fresh lime just might make a difference. If an air fryer might work better than a toaster. If we're going to welcome new friends at our table. And we may need a new delivery vehicle if we're going to share our nourishing gifts out into a hurting world. And it's time to share our experiments and our lessons with one another so that we learn collectively. I heard a story about a congregation recently where leaders decided to shift from a traditional Sunday service every week to a mix of worship, small group ministry, and community meals. They weren't sure how it would go. There was some anxiety. Would people come? Would the elders feel alienated? Would the younger members finally feel like they belonged? So they tried it. And some weeks, it worked beautifully. People felt fed. Other weeks, not so much. Some of the spaghetti slid down the wall. But the thing is, they didn't fail because they were learning, adjusting, listening, rooted not in perfection, but in purpose. A common question I hear when I'm working in congregational life is, what if all this experimenting runs amok? What if people want to try ridiculous things? We might want to reflect on how we define ridiculous. There is a bit of a tightrope between uncomfortable and unacceptable. Our principles and visions can guide us in navigating what feels like new territory. What are we trying to do here? What are we reaching for? Your projects don't have to be big. I'm not suggesting we put all of our metaphorical noodles in one big risky pot. We're not talking about huge, expensive adventures. We're talking about small sample experiments, dipping our toes in the pool, not the hot water, testing our theories and our imaginations. In times of transition, small experiments become sacred acts, like holding a conflict differently than before. Starting or adapting a justice project, even if it feels incomplete, even if we feel inadequate to the task. building a community connection that brings fresh ideas into your space or you bring freshness to theirs. Asking ourselves how to support our elders in the shift from service to being served. These are not signs of uncertainty. They are signs of aliveness. We grow not by controlling outcomes, but by moving forward with intention. And here's where spirit meets spaghetti. When we try these experiments grounded in our faith, guided by our values, held by our covenants, we turn improvisation into discernment. We turn throwing things at a wall into a sacred process of co-creation. Now we're going to take a little pause here, and Gordon is going to play more beautiful music for us for a little reflection, and then I'm going to come back and bring it home. There are more words. Hang in. There is food. You'll be okay. So here's some options for your reflection time. Because you already know how to do this, and you are actively living these lessons already. So our adaptation now is to ask the question, what does this specific moment ask of us? So here's some cues. Pick what you like. Reflect on a time when you've taken a chance, large or small, and the lessons you have learned. Or imagine one small thing you'd like to try in your life or in your congregation as a tiny experiment this year. Or, I always believe, if you could use a rest, just rest. I'll be back in a couple of minutes. Jane McGonigal, in her book, Imaginable, How to Create a Hopeful Future, asks us to see our current realities not as fixed or final, but as prototypes, imperfect drafts waiting for our experimentation. Reality itself is a prototype, and we are all beta testers, she writes. Think about that for a minute. Our reality is a prototype, a model for what follows next. What would it mean if we trusted that? It means we could toss ideas like spaghetti. We could try small, messy experiments, new worship styles, different programming, fresh ways of connecting, and see what sticks. And crucially, we don't expect perfection. We learned that failing or falling short is all a part of the spiritual journey. and it's better when we do it collectively. Game designers, McGonigal explains, know this well. They use what they call play testing, launching small versions of their games, gathering feedback and tweaking with agility. This process of iterative experimentation embraces failure as fuel for creativity and growth. Now, this fits beautifully with Adrienne Marie Brown's emergent strategy, which encourages us to look at nature's patterns, how small shifts ripple outward, how adaptation is key, and how change is never linear. She writes about the power of small experiments and learning in community, emphasizing resilience and joy. In fact, Brown reminds us that transformation happens when we lean into the edges of comfort. And who here hasn't felt a bit uneasy about that idea of throwing spaghetti at walls? Let's face it, Unitarian Universalists are often people who like to get things right. We value intelligence and thoroughness and careful thought and preparation. And perfection is not a spiritual value. Just saying. Compassion is, courage is, humility is. In times of transition, we must become more comfortable with not knowing, with messiness, with the moment before clarity comes. There is a sacredness in imperfection. Because when we let go of the need to be perfect, we become more present, more human, more open to surprise, to spirit, and to one another. So what holds us when everything feels uncertain? Not control, not certainty, not tradition alone. What holds us is spirit, that mysterious, life-giving force that moves through us when we gather in love, when we risk being real, when we build something new together. Spirit shows up when we let go of ego, when we listen deeply, when we stay connected through the hard conversations. Spirit shows up when we toss out an idea and say, let's try. Let's learn. Let's love one another through this. Our congregations and communities are imagining ways to embody this spirit. They're trying Sunday musical cafes and building relationships with Indigenous neighbors. We can try a new youth program or a simpler, more relational gathering. Learn what resonates and adjust. We become not rigid institutions, but living organisms, rooted in our Unitarian Universalist principles, but flexible in how we express them. This kind of experimentation is also deeply communal. McGonigal reminds us that collective imagination, gathering together to envision hopeful futures, is a powerful spiritual practice. It's not escapism. It's a necessary skill for creation and transformation. When we imagine new futures together, we are weaving our interdependent web intentionally, with love and with care. And when our experiments don't work as we hoped, what then? Our UU principles ground us as we navigate these experiences. Because we recognize the worth and dignity of every person, we help one another to practice patience and compassion especially when change feels hard or awkward. Our interdependence reminds us that every small act ripples out through community and beyond. Liz showed me that my anxiety-driven perfectionism was actually hurting me and others around me. She helps me to be more courageous, more willing to try new things, more comfortable with uncertainty, more safe showing my vulnerability, with knowing that we are going to make mistakes, trusting that we will learn from them, and still trying anyway. And coming together like we're doing this morning enlivens all of us. It reminds us that we are a team, a mighty force with the power to help and impact the world. When our spaghetti doesn't stick, McGonigal reminds us that every attempt, whether it works or not, expands our capacity to imagine, to innovate, and to persevere. Failure is not defeat, but part of spiritual growth. Adrienne Marie Brown lifts up that transformation is messy, iterative, and joyful. And there's one more gift McGonigal names, the secret superpower of optimism. The willingness to hope, to keep trying, even when the way forward is uncertain. Optimism fuels our ability to imagine better futures and to act toward them even when the path is unclear, she writes. So when spaghetti hits the floor, let's laugh, mop up, and toss a fresh handful with hope and courage and a spirit full of faith. Let's meet this moment with creativity and compassion. Let's embrace the messy, imperfect process of trying new things in our congregations and our communities. Let's honor our past, dismantle our barriers, engage the future, and live our faith with open hearts and joyful spirits. Because when spaghetti meets spirit, magic happens. It's sometimes sticky, it's sometimes slippery, but it's always worth the toss. And the world is hungry. Blessed be.
Let's just sing the first verse.
Sure, we're going to sing the first verse of Answering the Call of Love, 10:14. Beloveds, this is not an easy time, but it is a holy one. We are living in the midst of transformation, and transformation is messy. It is uncertain. It is sacred. Let us be brave enough to try. Let us be kind enough to fail well. Let us be rooted enough to remember who we are, even as we become something new. Let's help one another to remain grounded in the faith that we love so much. This is where spaghetti meets spirit. And this is where faith grows. May it be so. Blessed be.
I'd like to thank you so much, Reverend Ann, for that wonderful message. Really appreciate it. And as we close our service, I would like to thank everyone for being here, for you being here online with us as well, and today and in the future, if you so choose to watch this service later on. I'm so grateful to the musicians and ushers and greeters and the tech people and those that are greeting and doing things online behind the scenes. It takes so many to put on a service, and the light load is due to so many people helping out Sunday after Sunday, and I want to thank you. And I'd like to welcome all of the guests and visitors to have coffee and then to come into the Keeler Hall for a potluck, and you are most welcome whether you brought food or you didn't. I haven't seen the bounty, but I'm pretty sure there's probably a bit to share. So, and now and traditionally we close our service with Carry the Flame. I see the words are already here. And normally we would kind of make a circle. There's a lot of us this morning, so do your best. We often make a circle, sort of a circle, and hold hands if you choose. You don't have to hold hands. And we'll sing Carry the Flame. We sing it through twice. Yes, I like the idea of many circles.